Francis, is that Speaker Pelosi would like to see this wrapped up by the end of the calendar year, which means, I'm told by one source on Capitol Hill who works for a prominent Democratic member, which means that articles of impeachment around Thanksgiving. And then Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has said publicly in an NPR interview earlier this week that that would mean that the trial would be very shortly thereafter. Remember, there's an urgency on both sides to get this done and to get this done quickly. And also, there's a 2020 election in just 13 months, and that Iowa caucus is February 3rd.
Yeah, that little thing on the calendar that we all know is coming. So, Susan, is this political when it comes to this timeline?
Well, of course, the whole process is political. Impeachment is a political process. But it's smart. It's what needs to get done. As Kevin just pointed out, we have the Iowa primary coming up in January, or Iowa caucus, excuse me. So it's important that they get this done as quickly as possible. What it also does, Francis, is it allows it to stay in a very narrow scope. And that's the key here, is to keep this narrow, present the facts on the Ukraine, on the president's conversation, on the facts gathered by the whistleblower and validated by the inspector general, and call it to a vote. They can't look like they're just trying to rehash everything.
Right. All right. We got to leave it at that. We're gonna be with you in a little bit, but for now, I want to bring in Hans Nichols at the White House. We'll check back in with you guys in a little bit. So, Hans, how's the White House digesting all of this that's unfolded this week, and what's the strategy here moving forward?
Well, it doesn't appear that we know the strategy, or there is a clear strategy for all this. What we've seen from the president's Twitter feed, at least, is that they're going to attack the notion of a whistleblower. Now, the president shifted his tone on this a little bit. The most recent thing we got from the president on this is that he's suggesting that whistleblower is a partisan operative. Now, you heard from the president's lawyer, Jay Sekulow, yesterday, kind of disputing this very notion that he's even a whistleblower at all.
This individual that decided to spy on the president's conversation based on hearsay information, that's a better way of saying it. But whatever you want to do on that front, this individual had no firsthand knowledge of anything, nothing. Had no idea. The phraseology, the end notes and the footnotes, this wasn't drafted by this individual. This was written by a law firm. And you know what? The American people see it for what it is. No one has nobody has the appetite for this anymore. Real quick. They want to keep doing it. Call for a vote. That's why I tell Jerry Nadler and Adam Schiff. Call for a vote. Just go ahead and do it.
So let's be clear on this. There isn't actually any reporting out there that said that the whistleblower worked with a law firm. That's an allegation from the president's attorney. We've also seen allegations from Rudy Giuliani. It was Giuliani insisting that he was actually working with the State Department, in some ways invited Congress to go ahead and subpoena State Department documents. Remember, they're asking Mike Pompeo for certain documents. They want depositions. They're demanding all this. And I think the challenge White House this morning is they're grappling with the resignation of Kurt Volker, who is the special envoy for Ukraine. How they explain that is going to be interesting in the next 24, 48 hours. We heard from Nancy Pelosi late last night. Her line and her sort of consistent line is that she's taking no joy in these impeachment proceedings, but that she has an obligation and a duty to do them and to undertake these proceedings and to follow it wherever it may lead. Guys?
All right, Hans Nichols for us. Thank you with that information, helping us digest what's happening in the White House and how they're taking it. I want to bring back in our panel again and picking up right there with Hans's reporting. Susan, you have heard from Jay Sekulow there defending the president, saying this is secondhand information. How far is this argument going to go when it comes to defending the president?
As far as it needs to. I mean, we've seen that Team Trump will do whatever they can, not to show that he's innocent or right, but rather to discredit other people. That's the only thing they have going for them right now. There is no strategy. There's no war room gearing up for this impeachment. The White House staff is scurrying around because they're frightened and scared because they don't know what they don't know, and only a few people do. So I think that's the strategy, the only strategy that the White House has at this point.
All right. Let's talk about the timeline again, Kevin. Given the fact that we did get this memo and the notes of that phone call, is there an indication that the White House regrets releasing that? And is it clear that the president really wanted to get it out there because he seemed to think that, yeah, this is going to clear me?
You know, that's such a great question. And to Susan's point, I think there's a frustration, to answer your question directly, from senior Republicans in the Senate. about a lack of cohesive, coordinated response coming from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And quite honestly, that would suggest that perhaps they were caught off guard by just how quickly all of this has come about. But no doubt, I think that over the next 48 and 72 hours, and you're sort of seeing this by the trial balloons that are being floated by Giuliani and other interviews, that they're going to try to come up with a concerted effort.
Do you think that they should have already done that, Elena, when it comes to